Hi, we're Team Koopa Troopa. In this video, we will present results from our needs assessment and usability evaluation of Koopa's online invoice management platform. Koopa is a spend management software as a service provider built on Amazon Web Services that helps organizations manage their indirect purchases, invoices, and expenses in real time. Koopa's online invoice management solution is used by accounts payable departments to manage invoices effectively, accurately, and efficiently without having to maintain paper records. We first had an interview with our client to better understand the Koopa platform and current problems that their users face. From our stakeholder interview, we understood that Koopa was interested in finding problems encountered in the invoice creation process. We utilize needs assessment and usability evaluation methods to do the research for this project. Our needs assessment phase included user interviews, comparative evaluation, and surveys, followed by a usability evaluation phase that included heuristics evaluation and usability testing. After our 2 stakeholder interviews, we conducted 5 interviews with current users of Koopa and 1 interview with an accounts payable employee who uses software other than Koopa, just as a point of reference. 3 of our interviewees were directors at the accounts payable department, and 2 of them were financial analysts. The goal of our interviews was to discover user needs and locate pain points associated with Koopa's invoice management system. Our user interviews helped us to develop 3 primary personas. Our first persona is Oscar. He is a financial analyst in the accounts payable department of his organization and works on invoice management. Our second persona is Jan, who is a financial manager and is primarily responsible for approving or rejecting invoices. Our third persona is Jess, who works as a supplier. She uses the supplier portal on Koopa to send out invoices to the accounts payable department of an organization after making a sale. Once we had our primary personas in place, we decided to look at competitors to get a better understanding of the market landscape. We identified 3 direct competitors, 2 partial competitors, 4 parallel competitors, and 1 analogous competitor. Comparing Koopa to its competitors allowed us to find Koopa's strengths and weaknesses. It also helped us to uncover some of the features of the competitors that could make Koopa a more robust platform. Usability of the product and functionality of available features were our 2 broad guidelines used in our comparative evaluation. Usability criteria included aesthetics, ease of use, data entry interface, and documentation quality. Our functionality criteria included readability of form field prompts, interoperability with other platforms, data update automation, offline availability, and OCR capability. From here, we went on to deploy our survey, which covered all 3 of our primary personas. Through our survey, we wanted to discover if our findings from the interviews and the comparative evaluation were representative of the user population. From our needs assessment phase, our first finding was that Koopa does not throw an error if suppliers submit invoices with the same invoice number twice. This leads to confusion in matching invoices to the correct purchase order. Besides our 2 interviewees who found this, 32.5% of our survey respondents mentioned that they faced this issue. Many of the competitors we analyzed, such as QuickBooks, Concur, and TurboTax, inform their users proactively of the errors and guide them to resolve these issues quickly and efficiently. Our recommendation is to run a data validation script on the website that checks for duplicate invoice numbers for any new entry against an existing invoice database for a given supplier and display an error to the user in real time. Our second finding from the needs assessment phase was that more than 1 invoice has the ability to contain the same purchase order line. This allows suppliers to bill purchasers more than once for the same item. Besides our 2 interviewees who found this, 22.5% of our survey respondents agreed that they faced this issue. Our interviewees expressed that repeat invoicing is the chief driver of supplier disputes. Oftentimes, these disputes need to be resolved via costly conversations with suppliers. We suggest that these issues could be resolved by closing a purchase order line once an invoice has been uploaded against that line. This would prevent any repeat charges to an individual purchase order line. Our second phase of research consisted of utilizing a heuristic evaluation and series of usability tests to discover the problems most readily faced by the novice users of Coupa. For our heuristic evaluation, we each used Nielsen's 10 heuristics to evaluate the interface and assigned a severity rating to each issue. Later, we aggregated our severity ratings to come up with the most pressing issues. Following our heuristic evaluation, we performed usability tests in which we devised 6 different tasks centered around invoicing to test the interface with 5 different users. These tasks were designed to test the Coupa platform based on some of the issues we discovered in our previous research and to help us gain deeper insights into usability issues of the platform. We conducted 1 pilot test and 5 usability tests with employees of accounts payable departments who had never used Coupa before. In the second phase, we had 3 major findings. Our first finding of this phase was that the invoice inbox has poor information architecture and searchability of the invoices. All 5 of our users in our usability tests faced this problem, and 2 of them could not find the given invoice in the invoice inbox. The older invoices are listed first, while the most recent invoices are listed many pages later. Resultantly, users have to browse through all of the pages to find the most recent invoice, unless they use sort or search functionality. Furthermore, the sort functionality is not easily discoverable, and the search shows no relevant results when the user tries to search for an invoice by invoice number or the company name. This makes searching for invoices a real struggle. Our recommendation is to list invoices more logically, with the most recent invoices being displayed first. Also, the search functionality should be more robust so that users can search by company name and invoice number. We also recommend making the sort functionality more salient so that users can find it and use the sort functionality to view relevant results. Our second key finding from this phase is that filters associated with search were hard for users to discover and difficult for users to use. This finding came up during our heuristics evaluation and was validated during our usability testing when 2 out of our 5 users did not discover the search filters. Additionally, the remaining 3 users who did discover the filters found them difficult to work with. There is a long drop-down list of filters with more than 50 entries that is difficult to navigate through. Some users gave up after looking at the long list of filters because they did not find the relevant filter immediately. The filters themselves are within an old-fashioned search query that contains 3 fields. The second field has options like is, contains, and is blank. Other users spent time scrolling through the long list to find the filter they required and wrote a search query which frustrated them. We recommend that Coupa must make filters within search more apparent. They can do this by changing the hierarchy and positioning of the search bar and the advanced button. We also suggest that the advanced button must be renamed filters or advanced search to make it more apparent that there are filters associated with search. The filters should also be categorized so that they are easy to scan and use. The less frequently used categories can be grouped together as more filters and must be made available to enhance the flexibility of use. While we believe that all of our findings are valid, there were a few areas where we could have improved. Due to time constraints, we could only interview Coupa users from the US. Having diverse users from around the world would have given us better insights. We also could not interview any suppliers and got only 4 survey responses from suppliers, so we had very limited data on needs and pain points of suppliers. Secondly, we worked with the product in the test environment for all of our research. This environment contained several test variables, fields, pop-ups, etc. that would not be present in a live instance of the Coupa platform. This might have impacted our findings because some of these elements would not be present in the live instance. Thirdly, as none of us had worked in the financial domain, we were not familiar with financial and accountancy terms. So, our limited knowledge of the domain might have impacted the findings of our heuristic evaluation. Fourthly, users in our usability testing belonged to the same geographic area and had the same job profile. It would have helped to have a much more diverse user base in our usability tests. Through needs assessment and usability evaluation methods, we developed valuable insights regarding user needs and pain points in the invoice management platform. The research helped us to give clear recommendations to Coupa to help them become a leader in the invoice management domain.